Mr. J Math.
Welcome to a video on simplifying in grade 10. So this video is just revision of grade 8 and 9. Remember, simplify means when your question starts with brackets, but you do algebra and you multiply in and distribute and everything until your answer does not have any brackets. So the opposite of simplifying is factorizing, where we want our answer to stay in brackets. But for now, let's look at simplifying. So the big concept you need to know is distributing, and that just means this first graphic I put here, where if there's something outside a bracket, I need to multiply it with each term inside the bracket. So that A will go to the B and it will go to the C. And that is what I mean when I say you need to distribute in an algebra sum. Okay, but what happens if there's more than one term outside a bracket? Then we're going to FOIL. Okay, now many schools use the acronym FOIL, which means I'm going to multiply the first terms of each bracket. That's what the F stands for. Then I'm going to multiply the outer terms, so the A and the D. Then the I stands for inner, which means I'm going to multiply the B and the C, so the inside ones out of those four. And then L stands for the last term in each bracket I'm going to multiply. Okay, now if your school does not use FOIL, the only thing you need to know is take the A and distribute it with the C and the D, so everything in the other bracket, and then take the B and multiply it with everything in the other bracket. As long as you have four terms in the second step, you did it correct. The middle two terms are normally going to be like terms, so then you just add them and then end with three terms in your answer. Okay, we're going to do examples, and then it would make much more sense. Then you also need to know what happens if the one bracket has two terms in and the other bracket has three terms in. The same concept. I'm going to take the A, multiply it with everything, that's where these three terms come from, and then I'm going to take the B and multiply it with everything in the other bracket, and that's where these terms come from. Okay, always just check if there's like terms, but in this case, there won't be because some have A's and some have B's. Now let's look at examples. So with the first few, I am just going to distribute, which means I'm going to multiply the 3 with both of those terms. So 3 times 2 is 6x, and then 3 times y just gives me 3y. The next one, I'm going to take all of these and multiply it with all three terms in that bracket. The first one is going to give me minus 2q squared r. Then minus 2 times minus 2 gives me plus 4, and then the q has two of them and the r has two of them. Lastly, minus 2 times 3 gives me minus 6. There's only one q, but there are two r's. And I just need to check if there's like terms, and no, there are no like terms. Okay, question C. Again, I'm going to multiply the minus 3x squared y with everything. So this will give me minus 3x to the power 4y, and then minus 6x to the power 3, y to the power 2. Then plus 3x squared y cubed. Okay, it does not look like there's like terms, so that is my final answer. Now we're getting to FOIL, so I'm going to take the A and I'm going to multiply it with the A and the minus 3. So this A goes there and there. That would leave me with A squared minus 3A. Now when I'm done with that, I'm going to take the 2 and multiply it with both. So plus 2A minus 6. Like I said, always check the middle terms, and because both of them just have one A, I'm going to say it's minus 3 plus 2, which just gives me minus A minus 6. Now, it's still foiling, equation E, but it now just looks bigger and there's going to be more exponents. Don't let it set you off. Just follow the steps. So the 5p squared, I'm going to multiply it with both of those. That gives me 15p4 minus 5p squared q3. Now I'm going to take the minus 2q cubed and multiply them with both. So minus 6, let's go alphabetical, so p squared q cubed, and then plus 2q6. Okay, I need to check for middle terms, and yes, they are like terms, so final answer will be 15p4 minus 11p squared q cubed plus 2q6. Okay, now I can even FOIL with fractions. So I am going to take the first term, multiply it with both. So I'm just going to multiply the top and the bottoms. So this would just be 6x squared over 6. Then I'm going to multiply by 4. I'm just going to keep it easy. So that would be plus 8x over 3. Now, if I go for the minus a half, which I'm going to multiply with both, that just gives me minus 3x over 4, and then minus 4 over 2. So now I can simplify and do the fractions and cancel out and all of those beautiful things. So 6x over 6 just gives me x squared. Then the middle ones are like terms, but now I need to LCD and all of those beautiful things. You are just going to type it in the calculator just to make your life easier. Okay, so if I just show you this little sum on the side, I know the LCD is going to be 12, and then I'm going to say 8 times 4, 32, and then 3 times 3 is 9. There was a minus. So this answer will be plus 23x over 12. Last one, just minus 2. Okay, so remember, guys, you're in grade 10, so they don't want to see every single step with LCDs and everything anymore, unless there's algebra in it. So you can just use your calculator to get this answer. Let's look at question G. So it's just a binomial times a trinomial. So the first y, I'm just going to multiply with all three terms. So that gives me y cubed minus 2y squared plus 3y, and then just multiply everything by 1, so it just stays the same. So plus y squared minus 2y plus 3. So now I'm just going to check for like terms. Y cubed is on its own, but there is a y squared and there's a y squared. So they go together, and the single y's also go together. Now I just need to write the answer, so y cubed, then minus 2y squared plus y squared just gives me minus y squared, and then 3y minus 2y gives me plus y, and then plus 3. So no like terms anymore, and that's the final answer. Okay, H, same concept. I now just need to focus to not miss something. So this x going to multiply with all three of them, and that will leave me with 2x cubed minus x squared y plus 3xy squared. Then the minus 2, I need to also multiply with all of them. So I'm distributing the minus 2 in there. So that gives me minus 4x squared y plus 2xy squared, and then minus 6y cubed. Let's check for like terms. So I'm looking for something with x squared y, and there is another one. Okay, then I'm looking for something with xy squared. So guys, don't get confused. They look very similar, but it really depends on where the little squared is. Otherwise, it's not like terms. So 2x cubed. Then if I look at orange, minus 1 minus 4 gives me minus 5x squared y. And then with green, plus 3 plus 2 gives me plus 5xy squared. And then minus 6y cubed. There we go. Final answer. Let's look at a few trick questions. And what do you do first? And don't let them catch you out. So many times in exams, these are the questions you're going to see. Question 1. There's a 2 in front and a squared at the back. What do you do first? Please remember, a squared next to a bracket doesn't mean I'm just going to say, oh, this is 9, this is 4, and the answer is 13. Never, ever are you going to do that with algebra. Okay, a squared means you are going to write that bracket out twice, then FOIL the bracket, and then only multiply the outside number in. Okay, please, guys, I have taught for so many years, and this is one of the mistakes that is made every single year by the smartest people in math. They still get confused with this. So always first write it out twice, then you multiply the 2 in. Question 2, there's a minus 2 on this side and a 3 on this side, but there's no exponents or nothing. So my advice would always be multiply those first, and then you're going to multiply the 6a in the brackets. Okay, so there is another method to first multiply the 2, then multiply the 3, but then people get confused and mess it up, and don't do that, please. So just multiply these two together first, write an answer, and then multiply that answer into the bracket. That's always going to be the safest way. The next one, so what do? Do I multiply this 3 in every single bracket? No, you do not do that. You are first going to FOIL, and then with your answer, you leave your answer in brackets, and then you multiply the minus 3 in, always. So there are other ways, but it is very tricky, and there's very strict rules connected to that. So don't make your life difficult. Always FOIL first, and then multiply whatever number is outside, then only multiply it in. Let's practice a few. Okay, question A. So this is a normal distribute sum. So I'm first going to multiply that x, and then I'm going to FOIL the last two brackets and then look for like terms. So this answer, x times x is x squared plus 2x, and then I'm going to FOIL. So that's going to be x squared, then plus 1x, then minus 3x, and then just minus 3. Looking for like terms, x squareds. So there are 2x squareds, and then there's a 2x plus 1x minus 3x. So that's actually 0x, and then minus 3. Okay, so let me just highlight. Plus 2 plus 1 gives me 3, minus 3 gives me 0 x's. Question B, the same thing. I'm going to distribute in, so first I'm going to distribute that. Now something very important, everybody. If there is a minus in front of a bracket, please put a 1 there, so you can remember to distribute the minus 1 in there, which is going to change this minus into a plus. Okay, don't forget that. Again, a mistake that's made so many times, and then the smartest people will lose marks because they forgot to say a minus times a minus is a plus. Okay, let's go for it. So 3xy times x just gives me 3x squared y minus 12xy squared. Next one, the minus 1 is going in, so minus xy squared plus 2x squared y. Looking for like terms. So are there any's with x squared and y? Yes, the first one and the last one. So this would be 5x squared y. And then the middle ones are like terms. So minus 12 minus 1 gives me minus 13xy squared. Next question. So now is where I really need to focus. Okay, so there's a 4x in front, but there's a squared. So that means I'm going to rewrite this immediately. So it feels like I'm wasting time, but I'm going to get full marks. So please rather waste your time and get full marks than to just rush through something and mess it up. Now with the next one, there's a minus 2 and there's an x on the outside. I am going to put them together and then I'm going to FOIL these brackets. But let me not do everything in one step so that I don't confuse you. Okay, now I'm going to FOIL the brackets and only afterwards am I going to multiply in the 4x and the 2x. So the 4x stays there, and now I'm going to FOIL. X times x gives me x squared. Now the outers, minus 1x, the inners, minus 1x, and then the last plus 1. So the next one, minus 2x stays there, and then x squared, then multiply those, gives me plus 3x, multiply the inners, minus 3x, and then the last gives me minus 9. Okay, now I can distribute into the bracket. So 4x times x squared gives me 4x cubed. And now I'm going to put these two together before I FOIL in. Otherwise, I'm just taking too many steps. Also with these two, I'm first going to get the answer for those, and then I'm going to distribute in. So minus 1 gives me minus 2. And then I'm going to multiply the 4x with the minus 2x, and that will give me minus 8x. Guys, if you don't want to put them together first and it feels like too many steps, you're welcome to do it separately. It's just your sum is going to be like 7 lines long. But you are really welcome to do it. My advice would always be do what you are comfortable with, but please promise me you're going to practice it that way so that when you come to an exam, you're not sitting there wondering what should I do and is this correct and all of those. You practiced it so much that it is second nature. That's what's important. Okay, with the next one, I'm going to say minus 2x times x squared gives me minus 2x cubed. Okay, the green one's there. Plus 3 minus 3 actually gives me 0. And 0 times 2x is just 0. So I don't even need to write it. Now, minus 2x times minus 9 gives me plus 18x. Okay, I am looking for like terms. I can see there's a 4x cubed minus 2x cubed. That gives me 2x cubed. Just the minus 8x squared. And then 4x plus 18x gives me 22x. Great, that is the answer. This is an exam type question, and it can easily count up to 5 or 6 marks. Question D, I'm first going to do this binomial times a trinomial, and then I'm going to write out 2 brackets at the end, and then only multiply the minus in. So let's do that step by step. This x I'm going to multiply with all 3, so x cubed minus 2x squared plus 8. Now I'm going to take this 2 and multiply it by all 3, and that's going to give me plus 2x squared minus 4x plus 8. Now, I am not going to say this is x squared plus 16. No, I am going to write these bracket outs twice. So x plus 4, x plus 4. Okay, I can now check for like terms with these 3 in front, just to make it easier. Okay, so when I did this one, I needed to say this is 4x. Sorry for making that mistake. Okay, so now I'm looking for like terms, and let's just highlight. So there aren't any other x cubes. There's a minus 2x squared plus 2x squared. They just actually cancel out. And then there's a 4x and a minus 4x. So they also just cancel out. So I'm left with x cubed plus 8. Now in the other one, I am going to FOIL those brackets. So x squared plus 4x plus 4x, then plus 16. And now I need to multiply this minus in. Okay, so minus x squared. I'm going to put these 2 terms together, and that just gives me plus 8x, but there's a minus, so minus 8x, and then minus 16. Okay, I see I gave myself too little space. So there's only one x cubed. Now the x squared is also only one x squared, and then minus 8x, and plus 8 minus 16 gives me minus 8. That is my final answer. Okay, everybody, this is an extremely important video. You are not in grade 11 and 12 going to do a lesson on this again, but you're going to use these concepts in every single algebra sum you're going to do till the end of grade 12. Please make sure you understand everything in this video. It's extremely important.
If this video helped you, please like and subscribe.
JJ Math.